What's going on, my friends? I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and welcome to Stompbox Saturday. I am very excited today to walk you through the sounds and all the cool things that you can do with MXR's most powerful pedal release to date, the Joshua Ambient Echo. So throughout this video, I hope to do a few things. First and foremost, I want to show you everything that this pedal is capable of doing so that if you get one, you can start creating music with it right away. I also want to highlight some of the cool features that I feel help make this pedal the sort of beginning of an MXR renaissance. And finally, I want to show you some of the cool settings that I've come up with the longer I've had Joshua in my possession. But before we get into all of that, I would just like to ask that if at some point during this video you find yourself learning something or enjoying yourself, please do click the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. It also doesn't hurt to give the video a thumbs up. It's small stuff, but it really does help the channel grow. Somehow, and probably through just really good DSP engineering, MXR has packed a huge amount of stuff into its normal Phase 90 carbon copy size enclosure, albeit it seems a little less deep than those analog counterparts, but that's not really that big of a deal. The footprint is still the same. The top row of knobs is delay, mod, and voice. Delay is self-explanatory. It's your delay time. Mod is also self-explanatory. It adjusts the rate and depth simultaneously of the built-in modulation. Voice is a cool thing that adds on different pitch shifting to the delays created by Joshua. The bottom row of three knobs is regen, division, and mix. Regen, that's going to be your feedback. Think of it as regeneration. Division, or ratio, is a tap of your quarter note delay pulse. You can get everything from your standard quarter note delay to dotted eighth notes, eighth note triplets, and finally an eighth note and a dotted eighth note. So you actually can get a multi-delay on one line of audio. The final control is mix, which is your overall wet-dry blend. Now, as far as the buttons go, we have Echo 2, which adds on a secondary echo on top of whatever your subdivision of the delay time knob is. And then the second button is trails, turning them on or off. So if you want to hear your echoes ring out when you turn Joshua off, you can do that, which is pretty great that it's just right there and it's not some hidden feature. Speaking of hidden features, there is so much more adjustability to Joshua than what you see on the face of the pedal. All 6 controls can access a secondary advanced parameter by pressing and holding down on either the Echo 2 button or the Trails button. Now, although the pedal itself looks like it is a mono in, mono out pedal, it is not actually. The output is actually a TRS connection, allowing you to use a Y cable to get 2 lines of audio running into 2 amplifiers, or from an effects loop to the effects return of another amplifier. It's a pretty great thing. But this has been a thing that a lot of companies have done recently, but I don't feel like a whole lot of players have a Y cable as readily available as someone like me who deals with pedals like this on a regular basis. So if you want to take advantage of the stereo, how do you do that? Well, it comes down to the control jack at the very bottom of the pedal. Now, what's cool about this is it has 2 different functions. It can either serve as a remote tap tempo jack or an expression pedal jack, or my favorite thing, be used as an audio jack. Now, we are going to be running this in stereo most all of this video, so I want to show you how you are going to lapse the Joshua into its stereo mode in order to get the full lushness that its sound offers. First and foremost, there is a slider switch next to the control jack labeled tap/EXP and then audio. I have a tiny little flathead screwdriver that will allow me to get into that slot and push the switch from the tap position to the audio position. Once that audio position is in place, we're going to need to access one of the secondary controls in order to properly route stereo audio through Joshua. So the first thing we need to do is we need to press and hold on the Echo 2 button at the top of the enclosure. Then rotate the voice control clockwise in order to engage stereo audio. So with all of that out of the way, now let's finally get to hearing Joshua in action. First, a little rig rundown. Any guitar I choose, which today I'm feeling this Bigsby loaded Les Paul Studio of mine, goes down to the floor into a Boss TU3, a Keeley Compressor Plus, and the Rev Tilt Overdrive to just do all sorts of cool things with. Then we go mono into Joshua, then out stereo, we are going into the Walrus Audio Mako ACS1. Now to get us started, I think what we should do is hear what the different subdivisions are of the delay time we set using the delay knob. That'll give us an idea of what we can expect when we turn both those sounds on. Well, I'm gonna go pretty middle of the road here with the delay and the regen straight up at noon, but I'm gonna turn off the modulation and the voice so that we just get a clean repeat out of this pedal. I'll turn the trails on for, just giggles, and then the mix will adjust however we see fit. say we do the same thing, but add in Echo 2 so that we get a sense of what it's really like to not only have that stereo spread, but two different delays going at the same time. Whether you're just using the basic subdivisions on the division control or you're adding in Echo 2, there are so many great sounds that you can come up with Joshua. But a lot of that is based on what you can then add on top of that. So what I want to do now is show you the mod control. So that sounds really nice, but maybe at some point that modulation gets a little too squirrely. Well, that's where a secondary control comes in. By pressing and holding down on the trails button at the same time that you turn the mod knob, you'll then be adjusting the depth of the modulation. Once you've made a change with that control, release the trails button, and now you can use the mod control as the rate of modulation. This is really handy for those sounds where the rate just gets really, really fast and squirrely, but you just want to dial things back a little bit. Now, some of you might look at the name Joshua Ambient Echo and think it's kind of missing a key part of the ambient recipe, reverb. Well, there's actually reverb in the Joshua, which you can adjust the depth and mix of by pressing and holding down on the trails control and turning the regen for the decay and mix for the mix. Now, as much as I love the fact that Echo 2 kind of is just that quarter note pulse steadily against the subdivided delay from Echo 1, you can actually adjust the subdivision of Echo 2 if you desire. Press and hold down on Echo 2 and turn the division control so that you can then get that delay subdivided. outside of the secondary controls that we've just looked at in depth, we have two others that I feel like you're really going to gravitate towards when it comes to setting your sound with Joshua. That being the high cut filter, which is pretty self-explanatory. It shaves off high end. You also have compression threshold, which, you know, I'm not sure if that's on the input of the pedal or if it's on the echoes of the pedal. Nothing in the literature says exactly where that compression comes into play, and I'm not really sure where I'm hearing it. But the high cut filter, I definitely know what's coming into play there. Pressing and holding down on that trails button and turning the voice control is going to allow you the ability to shave off highs from 12K at its most counterclockwise point to 2K at noon and roughly 200 hertz at its most clockwise portion. Hey, speaking of the voice knob, we haven't even really explored that idea yet. So why don't we go ahead and do that? When I said that Joshua might be the most powerful MXR pedal released to date, I meant it. This thing is chock full of features, both what you see on the pedal and hidden underneath. We might as well just dive into my favorite sounds right now because there's not really much more I can say about it. So let's make some music. And there you have it, my friends. That is the MXR Joshua Ambient Echo. Now, I hope I've been able to show you everything that I laid out at the beginning, and especially illustrate the one thing I hoped to. That this is a pedal that is putting MXR back into the conversation. They are aiming for a different type of player than they've ever aimed for before, and I am all about it. There's really only one concern I have about Joshua that I think might make it a hard sell for some players. Not all, but for some. As far as I can tell, it's mono in and stereo out. I don't know if it's a stereo in. So if it's not stereo in and stereo out, I know a lot of guys that want stereo in and stereo out on their delay pedals these days. So it's not gonna bother a guy like me, who is 90% of the time wanting to play in mono. But for the people who use stereo all the time, it could be the make or break thing. But all of this is just my opinion, and now I want to hear from you. What do you think of some of the sounds we came up with on Joshua, and how do you feel about the whole mono stereo thing? Whatever your thoughts are, share them below in the comments section, and I will do my best to interact with as many of you as possible. Thank you all so much for spending part of your day with me. I certainly hope you enjoyed yourself, and if you did, I would greatly appreciate your support so that I can keep making videos like this. The best way to support is by joining my email club. A link to sign up is in the description box down below, and not only do I send videos just like this to all members of the club direct to their inbox, sometimes a week ahead of their publishing on YouTube, you also get access to exclusive member-only giveaways that I run just for the email club. And if you want to take your support just a bit beyond that, please do use the affiliate links that I have in the description box down below. I'd actually like to thank one of those affiliates, Zounds, for sending the Joshua my way to showcase for all of you. They have it in stock right now, and if you buy one with them, I get a nice little commission that helps fund the content making that I do here on the channel. Thank you all again, my friends, and until we see each other next, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all watching great tone and happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless.